It's 7:12 in the morning, soft light through the curtains. On the edge of your bed you sit, both feet on the floor, about to do something you've done maybe 50,000 times in your life without ever once thinking about it. You're about to stand up, so you lean forward a little, you press one hand down into the mattress, you rock, just slightly, just once to get the momentum, and you push, and you rise, and there's that small sound, that little exhale, that thing we all started doing somewhere in the last few years and quietly agreed never to mention. And here's what I want you to notice. That whole moment, the lean, the press, the rock, the push, that used to be one motion, effortless, automatic. And somewhere along the way, without a single day where you could point and say there, that's when it happened. It became a small negotiation between you and gravity. That negotiation is the whole subject of this video. Because out of Japan, out of a quiet university lab, came a discovery that sounds impossible. A way of training that takes 3 seconds, not 3 hours, not 3 days a week on a machine that hurts your knees. 3 seconds. And done in one very specific way, those 3 seconds can rebuild the exact strength that slips away after 60. The strength to rise from a chair, to climb a stair, to catch yourself when you stumble, faster than an entire hour of the exercise you were probably told to do. I'm not selling you anything, no supplement, no gym, no app that buzzes on your wrist. I'm going to tell you what the science actually found, why a team of researchers in Japan and Australia sat straight up when they saw their own numbers, and, this matters, the one small mistake almost everyone makes that turns these magical 3 seconds into 3 completely wasted ones. Stay with me. Because the real surprise isn't how little they did. The real surprise is where the strength comes from. And I promise you, it's not where you think. Let me tell you why I care about this. For the last 15 years, I've done one slightly strange thing with my life. I read the studies almost nobody reads. The muscle physiology papers, the aging research, the dense, unglamorous journals where the real answers quietly sit, waiting, while the internet argues about lemon water. And I didn't start because I was curious about muscles. I started because of my grandfather. He was a strong man, the kind of strong you don't notice until it's gone. And I watched, slowly, over years, as the jar got harder for him to open. Then the stairs needed the railing, then the chair needed both hands. And then one ordinary afternoon, a stumble that should have been nothing put him on the floor, and the man who used to carry me on his shoulders couldn't get himself back up. Nobody had ever told him this was preventable. Nobody told me. And that's the thing that's driven me ever since. The quiet fury of realizing that so much of what we call just getting old is not old age at all. It's something else. Something we were never taught to fight. Which brings me to the lie. The lie we were all sold. For most of your life, you were told a simple story. No pain, no gain. If it doesn't hurt, it isn't working. If you're not sweating and sore for 2 days, you wasted your time. Push harder, feel the burn, suffer, and you'll be rewarded. But here's what bothered me for years. If suffering were the price of a strong body, then why do so many people who did suffer, who walked their 10,000 steps faithfully, still end up weak at 75? Still can't rise from the floor, still fall. Something didn't add up. There's a professor named Ken Nosaka who's spent decades studying how muscles actually get stronger. And he said something that stopped me cold. He said the idea that exercise has to be exhausting or painful is holding people back, not helping them, holding them back. Sit with that. Everything you were told about suffering for strength might be the very thing keeping you weak. What happened in that lab? Picture the room where this began. Researchers at Niigata University in Japan, working with Edith Cowan University in Australia, decided to ask a strange question. Not how much exercise makes a muscle stronger. The opposite. What is the smallest possible amount that still works? So they gave a group of people one job, a single arm movement once a day for 3 seconds. Not 3 sets, not 3 reps. One contraction, 3 seconds long, and then done. Walk away. Go make your tea. 5 days a week, weekends off, for 4 weeks. Now do the math with me, because this is the part that made scientists blink. 3 seconds a day, 5 days a week, 4 weeks. Add up every last second of effort, and you get about 60 seconds. 1 single minute of exercise spread across an entire month. And after a whole month of doing almost nothing, 1 minute of total effort, the muscle strength went up by more than 11%. 11%. From 60 seconds. The group that did nothing changed nothing, exactly as expected. But that 1 honest minute made people measurably, provably, undeniably stronger. When it was published, people didn't believe it. It sounded like a typo. But it was peer-reviewed, it was replicated by the same lab again and again, and it held. 60 seconds, 11%. That's where this starts. But it is not the surprising part. The surprising part is what kind of 3 seconds they did, because they didn't do just any movement. And this is exactly where nearly everyone gets it wrong. Lowering, not lifting. Here's what they found. They split people into 3 groups. Same exercise, 3 different ways. The first group lifted a weight, muscles shortening, the obvious thing we picture as exercise. The second group just held it still. And the third group did something that almost feels lazy. They didn't lift anything at all. They only lowered it. Took a weight that was already up and let it come down slowly, over 3 seconds, resisting gravity the whole way, fighting the fall. That's it. Just lowering, slowly. And that third group crushed the other 2. It wasn't close. Lowering the weight built more strength than lifting it. Doing less, in a sense, did more. Scientists have a name for this. When a muscle stays switched on while it lengthens, stretches out under load, that's an eccentric contraction. Lowering into a chair, walking downstairs, setting a heavy bag onto the counter instead of dropping it. Every one of those is your muscle working as a brake, not an engine. And here's the beautiful part. Your muscles are far stronger braking than pushing. You can lower a weight you could never lift. Research suggests a muscle can produce 20 to 50% more force while lengthening than while shortening. Think about that. The single strongest thing your body can do is the controlled slowing of a fall. And most of us spend our whole lives never training it. We heave things up, we strain, and we ignore the one motion where our real power actually lives. Let me say it plainly, because it's that important. You are stronger going down than going up. You are stronger resisting than pushing. You are stronger as a brake than as an engine. And the exercise almost nobody does, the exercise hiding in plain sight in every chair and every staircase in your home, is simply learning to use that brake on purpose for 3 slow seconds. Now watch what happens in those 3 seconds. Watch a single one of these movements with me, slowed all the way down, second by second, so you can feel what's really going on. You begin to lower. Second 1, your brain fires a command down your spinal cord and out to the muscle. Hold, resist, don't let go. Instantly, the muscle switches on, but not all of it. Your nervous system starts reaching deeper, calling up muscle fibers it usually leaves asleep. Strong ones, the ones ordinary daily life never bothers to wake. Second 2, now you're in the hardest part. Gravity is pulling, and your muscle is answering, lengthening while staying tight, which is the most demanding thing a muscle can do. More fibers snap on line. The signal from your brain gets louder, cleaner, more coordinated, like an orchestra where suddenly every musician is watching the conductor again. Second 3, the very end of the range, where you're weakest and the tension is highest, and your body is forced to recruit everything it's got just to stay in control. And then you arrive, gently, on purpose. That's it. 3 seconds. And in those 3 seconds, you didn't just move a limb. You sent your nervous system a demand it almost never receives. You made your brain and your muscle talk to each other properly, maybe for the first time in years, which is the whole secret. And it leads straight to the strangest finding of all, the part nobody expected. When the researchers measured those people who got 11% stronger, they checked something else. They checked whether the muscles had grown bigger. You'd assume they must have. More strength, bigger muscle, right? But the muscles hadn't grown. Not measurably, not in 4 weeks. So where did the strength come from? Upstairs. It came from your brain. Strength isn't only about muscle size. It's about how well your nervous system can command the muscle, how many fibers it can fire at once, how cleanly the signal travels. In most people, especially as we age, that signal goes weak and sloppy. The muscle is still there. The brain has half forgotten how to fully switch it on. And what that slow, controlled lowering does is wake the conductor back up. The muscle didn't change, the conversation changed. And that is exactly why this matters more after 60 than it ever did at 30. Why your body is waiting for this. Starting in your 30s and speeding up after 60, you begin losing muscle. Slowly, then faster. Doctors call it sarcopenia, and it is one of the most important words you've never been told. It doesn't hurt. There's no alarm, just a slow, silent fade. The jar, then the stairs, then the couch, then a stumble your legs are no longer fast enough to catch. And a fall in your 70s isn't a fall. It's a fork in the road. One path leads home. The other leads somewhere none of us want to go. But this is not fate. Hear me. This is not simply old age. Most of it is disuse. Muscles that stopped being asked. A brain-to-muscle signal that faded because nothing demanded it stay sharp. And that is precisely what this rebuilds. Here's the proof that stops me cold. In one study, adults aged 65 to 84 did this eccentric slow lowering style of movement. Simple chair-based exercises, mostly at home, for 8 weeks. No gym. And their knee strength went up by more than 38%. Their ability to stand up from a chair, measured directly, improved by over 50%. Even the muscle thickness grew by around 20%. People in their 70s and 80s, from lowering slowly at home. The gains went beyond raw strength. Their balance improved. Their walking got steadier. The very things that stop a stumble from ever becoming a fall, the reflex to catch yourself, the power to plant a foot and hold, those came back too. Because balance isn't some separate skill you either have or don't. Balance is strength you can produce fast enough at the exact moment gravity tests you. And that is trainable, at any age, right up into your 9th decade. And it's not just legs. Your grip, the strength in your hands, is one of the single strongest predictors of how long you will live. Not a party trick, a signal of the whole body's vitality. And it responds to this same braking principle too. So understand what this really is. Nobody over 60 is doing this for a mirror. This is picking up your grandchild without fear. This is getting off the floor on your own. This is the difference between watching life from a chair and standing up to meet it. How to actually do it. And the one mistake exactly what to do. And please listen to the second half because that's where the mistake hides. No dumbbell. And for you and me, no pushing to absolute maximum. The lab used young people going all out. But for us, the magic was never in the strain. It's in the control, the slow, the braking, the simplest version, a sturdy chair that won't slide. Stand in front of it, feet about shoulder width. Now the only thing that matters. Sit down slowly. Not drop, not flop. Lower yourself toward the seat over a slow count of 3. 1, 2, 3, resisting the whole way. As if the seat were a mile down and you were letting yourself descend inch by inch. Your legs are the brakes. Feel them fight the fall. Then sit. Stand back up however you need. Use your hands, that's fine. The standing isn't the point. Do it a few times. 5. Maybe 10 if it feels good. Keep a hand near a counter for balance. That's the whole exercise. Want your hands and your spine in on it too? Stand tall at a kitchen counter. Hold the edge, and slowly lower your body weight back and down away from it. That same 3-second count, letting your arms and your grip do the braking. Feel your hands fighting to control the descent. Feel your back lengthen. Same principle. Top to bottom, hips, spine, grip, all trained by the one thing your body was built to do and almost never gets asked to. Slow, controlled, lowering. Now, the mistake. The one that ruins everything. The mistake is speed. It's rushing the lowering, letting gravity do the work while you just ride it down. Drop into that chair in half a second, and the muscle barely switches on. Nothing to break. Nothing for the brain to command. You'll swear you did it, But you did the empty version. The whole discovery, the entire reason scientists got excited about 60 seconds is in the slowness. Rush it and you waste it. Slow it down and you unlock it. And a word of caution, because I respect you. Ease in. Start small. Good tired is fine. Anything sharp is not. Stop. And if you've got any concern about your knees, back, or heart, check with your doctor first. This is gentle by design. But it's your body, and you're the one who lives in it. The whole thing, in one breath, the entire video, in one line, so it's burned in. Sit down slowly. Count to 3. That's the training. Not 3 hours, 3 seconds, not lifting, lowering, not pain, control, not for a mirror, for the day you're 80 and you want to get off the floor on your own 2 legs. That's everything I came here to tell you. The only thing missing is you. I can explain the science all day. But until you do it, until your own legs feel that slow, fighting descent tomorrow morning, the words are just words. Watching a video about strength has never made a single person stronger in the history of the world. Not one. Doing did. Doing always does. And nobody is coming to do this for you. That's not harsh. It's just true. And somewhere you already know it. No pill, no machine will hand back the strength that disuse quietly took. But you can rebuild it. 3 seconds at a time. Starting tomorrow. Starting with one slow sit into a chair. So picture it. 1 year from now, just one, you lower into a chair with control and rise back out and don't think about it. Because it's easy now. 5 years from now, standing up off the floor after playing with a grandchild, one motion, no furniture, no help, no grunt. 10 years from now, climbing a staircase and realizing halfway up that your hand never reached for the rail, that the strength was just there, waiting, because a version of you, sitting somewhere watching a video, made a very small decision on a very ordinary morning, and kept it. That's how it happens. Not in a gym, not in an hour. In 3 quiet seconds, repeated with stubborn, loving consistency by someone who decided their future was worth 1 honest minute a month. If even 1 sentence today made you see your body differently, subscribe and stay with me. There's so much more I want to share about how it really works underneath. And tell me down in the comments, when was the last time you stood up without using your hands? Be honest. I read everyone. Then do me one last favor. Send this to someone whose strength you want to protect for a long time. But most of all, go do it. Tomorrow morning, before the day swallows you, before the phone, before the coffee. Find a chair, stand tall, and sit down slowly. 1, 2, 3. You owe yourself that. It's the smallest promise you'll ever make. And it just might be the one that changes everything. Take care of yourself. Take care of those legs. They've carried you this far, and they've got so much further to go. I'll see you in the next one.